Green Cooling scores with the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show.
Well, hello, good evening and welcome, or good morning, or good afternoon, or whenever you're downloading this podcast. This is, of course, the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show. My name's Dave Parkinson. We're back for another week. I'm opposite my main man who presses all the buttons and certainly does his level best to make me sound decent, which is a hard slog at times. It's Steve Beech. How are you doing, Steve? You okay?
Yeah, I'm doing fine, thanks, Parker. Yeah, presses all the buttons. we'll get into that a little bit later on about not pressing the buttons certainly at the weekend.
Well, let's not mention stopwatches. You know, that's another matter. That's another matter. Great weekend. Obviously, the game that we covered live for the show was, we built it up to be a good one, and sometimes we build them up, and I won't say they don't reach their expectation. I think most of the games we've done have been pretty good, but the one at the weekend between the top of the table there between Wigan St Judes and Shawcross Sharks. We'll get into that and talk about that a little bit later. Yeah, it was definitely a sterling game, and one where the lead changed hands a few times, and there was no little controversy as well, as we will find out.
Yeah.
So a little bit later on, we've got chats from the Wigan St Judes camp to bring you. We've got the commentary highlights. It was a cracking game for us to cover, and of course we've got all of our usual features. So we have we have all what's going on in Cumbria to bring you. We've got the North West Men's League, we've got the Yorkshire Men's League, we've got the regional leagues that have started up as well. Hey, it's a busy show, isn't it, Steve?
It certainly is, and as we said a couple of weeks back, everything's in full flourish now, and there's some interesting sort of things to delve into from those as well, and not just specifically on the heartlands, as we said. We've got to a few interesting, certainly one interesting discussion a little bit later on a former pro team.
I'll let you lead on that one, to be honest, Steve, because I think because you've got the paper in front of you for starters. Right, but I know I'm going to break with tradition.
You're always doing that,
I know, because I never want to set a tradition. I always want to break a tradition. I'm a typical rugby league evangelist, aren't I? Because we're a game that has evolved and keeps changing and keeps throwing different things in there. And this show is very similar in doing that. So I wanted to actually start with North West Men's League action, if you don't mind, Steve.
Yeah, not at all.
So it was another interesting weekend of North West Men's League action. And on Saturday, some cracking results here, by the way, and from the sounds of it, some excellent games. We'll start, first of all, with Latchford Albion. They defeated Folly Lane by 26 points to 10. An important victory for Latchford. I know certainly wins this season have been hard to come by, haven't they, for Martin Ellis' side. So that's a really important victory for them there. Orrell St James went up to Heysham and defeated them 56 points to 6. I mean, that's a cracking result up there, isn't it?
Yeah, because we always talk about any club that's going up to that area of the country. It's a long haul, and to come away with that. And again, I say it time and time again. I mean, you look at the keeping them down to 6 points. That is really good.
You're doing well, aren't you, with your defence there as well. So in the other game that took place in the Premier Division, this is one which I know you sent me because you said this scoreline can't have been real. Halton Farmouth Hornets against Blackbrook. First of all, let's delve into the scoreline which you'd spotted, Steve.
I think it was Halton Farmouth Hornets. If I'm not wrong, was it
18?
18, and Blackbrook, was it 212 or something along those lines?
206, I think it
206?
was. 206?
That's one hell of a score.
We thought we got a world record that had taken place at the weekend, weren't we?
Records tumbling, left, right and centre.
I try every set of 6 from the sounds of it, but no, when the scoreline actually came through as being input correctly, the final score of that one was a much, much closer and more respectable. Halton Farmouth Hornets 18, Blackbrook 20. So, I mean, that's a good result away from home, isn't it, for Blackbrook?
Yeah, very much so.
Into Division
1.
Yeah, well, press Division 2 on my screen for some reason. So Division 1, Wigan St Cuthbert's 18, Burton Woodbridge 18. Nothing between those sides. This also looked a close one as well. Thatto Heath Crusaders A20, West Orton Lions 12, Goulburn Parkside 22, Hindley 36. The big Cumbrian derby between Dalton and Ulverston finished in a Dalton win by 27 points to 12, and Salford City Roosters seem to be struggling to get winning results so far this year. They went down at Chorley Panthers by 34 points to 14. A really good win that for the Panthers.
Yeah, very much.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then your results in Division 2. West Bank Bears 6, Hindpool Tigers 28, Waterhead Warriors A36, Newton Storm 4. This is a really close result, this one. Lee Miners Rangers A34, Wigan Springview 28. Wow.
Not much in that one. Not much at all.
In that one at all. And then your Division 3. Lee East A0, Clotface Miners A24. Wonder whether that game took place. This one, another very close encounter of the Rugby League kind. Higginshaw 16, Garswood Stags 18. Runcorn getting a comprehensive win away at Callyshead by 46 points to 0. And Banky Bulls, another team in the points, running up a 40 points to 12 victory against Blackpool Scorpions. So that's your Division 3 results. Your Division 4 results. It's every time you tip Liverpool Lizards. Portico Vine defeated them 38 points to 30. Sounds like an absolute classic between those two.
That's a close one, isn't it? I mean, got to take hats off to both sides there.
We know about Bolton's troubles in not being able to raise the side, so Oral St James get the result this week by 24 points to 0. Haydock, they had a resounding 46-16 home success against Langworthy Reds, and then this was a close encounter as well. Chester Gladiators 26, Culcheth Eagles 22. Some cracking games this week, to be honest. I'm just having a look in the entry division. So these are sides that are looking to either come into the league perhaps next year, or they've got A teams that are putting through. So I think we've seen Hurst Finch take part in a couple of fixtures in this entry division. This past weekend it was Leyland Warriors 50, Folly Lane A18, and we have Charlie Panthers A44, Widnes St Mary's 2. Really pleased to see when I know I'm going to comment here about about a team losing quite heavily, but I'm really pleased to see Widnes St Mary's back on the Rugby League map. Yeah, it was a travesty what happened with that club.
Yeah, and I think we talk about you look at Widnes back in the 80s where they were as a professional side. I mean, obviously they still have a professional side, but I mean, alongside that at the time there were a plethora of great Widnes community clubs, and I think the only one of tell a lie, but we've got Alton Farmers.
We have got Halton Farmworth, yeah. But other than that, they've gone from being a town which sustained 10 community clubs at one point down to a town that has 2 or 3 teams.
So it's good to see Mary's back.
It is.
And Mary's were one of those names at the time.
Very much. Right. Yeah. You're right. And it's like your Moorfield and that type of thing, Widnes Moorfield. Yeah. And then there was Widnes Tigers, wasn't there? There was a number of different clubs from that area. But yeah, it's good to see them certainly having an impact and getting out on the field again. Shall I have a look at some of the fixtures for this week, or have I missed out some results, Thirsty?
I'll just check for you. I don't think you have, Parky. I think everything's okay to move on.
We always do that little check-up, don't we? Just in case I've missed out calling any fixtures, because the last thing we want is an email or a message saying, Dave, you never mentioned such and such a body. What have you got against us? I've got nothing against anybody, honestly. Right, so let's have a look at the fixtures from the Premier Division this coming weekend. All the action gets underway on Friday, so we have 2 games happening this Friday. So we've got... well, actually, we don't.
I know what you're going to say now, because you're going to say Shevington Sharks against Hurstfinch has been postponed.
But it's been postponed, hasn't it? Yes. So, Shevington Sharks against Hurstfinch has been postponed. But we'll be over at Latchford Albion once again. They're taking on nearest and dearest Orrell St James. It's a Wigan and Warrington derby, that one, isn't it? And certainly one that we'll be looking forward to, I think, Steve.
Yeah, obviously both these teams we've followed or covered quite well, not just with regards to in the past of the games, but certainly Latchford, we've done we wanted to get on commentary and we managed to get on commentary a couple of weeks back.
Yeah, when they played against Ashton, didn't they, on that game?
And Orrell St James, we've always had a good relationship with them over there at Orrell, and they've been playing some good stuff. So it's going to be good to catch up with them and do commentary on their game.
Other games, we'll tell you a little bit more about how you can tune in and stuff to that game. Other games in the Premier Division this coming weekend. On Saturday, Folly Lane are up against Heysham Atoms, and Ashton Burrs, they're at home against Blackbrook. That's another standout fixture, isn't it, to be honest? So that's what you've got to look forward to in the Premier Division. Into Division 1, we have Hindley hosting West Horton Lions. Something's got to give, because both of those teams have been playing particularly well at this level of rugby league, haven't they? Ulverston are at home to Goulburn Parkside. Dalton travel up to Salford City Roosters. Wigan St Cuthberts are away at Chorley Panthers. Burton Woodbridge have an intriguing home tie against Thatto Heath Crusaders A. So that's going to be an absolute cracker as well. And then if we look into Division 2, that sees Newton Storm hosting Rochdale Mayfield A. Roosh Pioneers at home to Lee Miners Rangers A as well. And then your Division 3 fixtures, well, that sees Chester Gladiators host the Liverpool Lizards. Portico Vine have a local derby against Haydock. And you've got West Horton Lions A side hosting Langworthy Reds. That should be an interesting game as well, shouldn't it? And any from the entry division?
Division.
We have Chorley Panthers A hosting Woolston Rovers A. Widney St Mary's, they're at home against Garswood Stags Reserves. So lots to look forward to, certainly in the North West Men's League team. Yeah,
just a quick thing that obviously we're looking at the teams that are in the entry division. Yeah, I noticed the name Limehurst Lions.
Yeah, I think they're based in Oldham.
Yeah.
So, in fact, one of the more infamous social housing estates in Oldham is Limehurst.
I see.
Yeah. So certainly, I think I could be wrong here. If you're involved at the club and you want to tell us a little bit more about it, rather than me double guessing and sort of having a bit of a say here, I think I'm right in thinking with Limehurst, that's the estate where the Avro Football Club play their games, and where Oldham had their home until very recently, when they've gone back to Boundary Park. So. If they can get a decent team running from that area of Oldham, that can only strengthen rugby league in that area. To be honest,
I totally agree.
And it's good when we get teams that are springing up and they're developing. Because as I say, that's an area of Oldham that does have its issues. So I think as well, if you can associate something a bit more positive to the area, such as a rugby club, there's more chance of people getting involved in that, getting behind it, and hopefully looking after it as well, so that it gives the people a bit of pride around the area as well, doesn't it? So that's the Limehurst Lions as far as I'm concerned. There, I think they've got a couple of junior sides as well, if I'm not mistaken. So it's certainly somewhere where Oldham Rugby League is looking to sort of impress and improve upon. Mind the gap. You know what this is? This is because I've got it on my phone and I'm not used to looking at this website on my phone. So, I want to go Yorkshire Men's League next.
Yorkshire Men's League.
Okay, Steve. So, let's go results and let's go Premier Division, shall we? So, last weekend, we saw the following results. King Cross Park 16, Doncaster Toll Bar 36, Westgate Common 16, Stanley Rangers 36. I tipped this one to be a cracking game, didn't I? Because I said there was Wakefield pride at stake between both of these sides. And I have to admit, I thought Westgate might have actually done the job there, but I'm delighted for Stanley Rangers because they were a side that previously was in the National Conference League.
Yeah.
If I go back about 4 or 5 years, I remember actually filming a game there when I was with Lee East. And they play on, it's one of these where they've got like a cricket field.
Yeah.
And then the rugby field is at the back, and you've got the cricket scoreboard.
Yeah.
Which also doubles up where it looks over the rugby pitch as well. So I'd arranged...
Good vantage point there.
Yeah, I'd arranged to go up there and film from the top, and I felt like a sniper because I had to lie across the floor with my little tripod up, filming from it. But I'm delighted to see Stanley Rangers seem to be on the way back. It's been a long time in coming, and I'm delighted for him, to be honest. There, Almonry Spartans 38, Fryston Warriors 24, and Keighley Albion 12, Newson Panthers 4. Into Division 1, the results last week, well, that saw Murfield 40, Wibsey Warriors 22, Ossett Trinity Tigers went down at home to Hunslet by 24 points to 14, and Cutsike Raiders, they tasted home defeat against Siddle Academy by 30 points to 16. There was a game on Friday night as well. Charleston Rovers getting the better of Bradford Dudley Hill, 30 points to 20 as well. That sounded like it would be a cracking game to have covered that. Division 2, the results saw Brighouse Rangers 36, Castleford Panthers 4, Illingworth 26, Birkenshaw Blue Dogs 6, and then another one on Friday evening that saw Mould Green defeat Emily Moore Cougars by 40 points to 14. Division 3 results, and that saw Bramley Buffaloes 52, Birstall Victoria 6, York Acorn 80, that's 8-0, Wyke 14, New Earswick All Blacks 8, Dodworth Miners 22, and Upton 48, Ellendon Greetland 8. And then Division 4.
Yep.
West Craven Warriors 50, Goole Vikings 20, Sherburn Bears 22, Underbank Rangers 38. Good win that for Underbank. Yeah. Into Division 5, Dearne Valley Bulldogs 52, Batley 26. Craigleston All Blacks 48, Farnley Falcons 10, and Garforth Tigers 16, those Scarborough Pirates 42. Good result that for Scarborough. And then Division 6 results, that saw Birkenshaw Blue Dogs Academy 32, Keighley Albion Academy 32.
You're getting your money's worth there, Parker.
Definitely. Guiseley Rangers 18, Hemsworth Dragons 46, Rycroft Hammers 6, Moortown Mambas 54. Big win for the Mambas. And Charleston Rovers Academy 36, King Cross Park Academy 12. And then into the NCL Alliance, Shawcross Sharks 24, Bentley 0. West Bowling Academy 24, Stanningley 0. And then the Hull Division, West Hull 36, Skirler 12, Scunthorpe Steel Sharks 40, Myton Warriors 28.
Good win there.
What a great win for the Scunthorpe Steel Sharks. And then let's have a look at the fixtures. I'm going to start first of all with that Hull Division. So on Friday evening, Myton Warriors are set to host West Hull. On Saturday, unfortunately, Skirler and East Hull has been postponed. And then that's it as far as those fixtures are concerned. Yeah. That was short and sweet, wasn't it? Into the Premier Division of the Yorkshire Men's League, fixtures this weekend feature Almonry Spartans set to host Stanley Rangers, Newson Panthers hosting Westgate Common, Keighley Albion are on the road at Doncaster Toll Bar, and King Cross Park, they're over at Fryston. And then in Division 1, the fixtures are Murfield hosting Cutsike Raiders, Ossett Trinity Tigers making the short trip over to Charleston Rovers. Hunslet taking on Siddle Academy.
That should be good. That should be good.
That'll be a crackerjack of a game, that, won't it? And then we have a bit of Bradford rivalry going on here. Wibsey Warriors up against Bradford Dudley Hill.
Yeah.
That should be another intriguing game in Division 1 of the Yorkshire Men's League. Division 2 fixtures, that sees Brighouse Rangers set to host Illingworth. Emley Moor Cougars are on the road at Castleford Panthers. Mould Green, they travel over to Queensbury. And those Seacroft Sharks take on the Birkenshaw Blue Dogs. Into Division 3 and the results, or I should say the fixtures this coming weekend. It'd be good if I could say the results on a Wednesday night, wouldn't I, for games on a Saturday?
I'll be straight on to Betfred, no problem.
New Earswick All Blacks, they're hosting Birstall Victoria. Bramley Buffaloes, they're at home to Wyke. Dodworth Miners, they're hosting Upton. And York Acorn travel over to Elland and Greetland. And then Division 4, that sees Alton Raiders up against Sherburn Bears. Underbank Rangers hosting Dewsbury Moor. Newsom Panthers away at West Craven Warriors. And the Goole Vikings taking on the York Barbarians. Tell you what, that's good. That's an interesting one just for the nicknames, isn't it, that one? That's a great tie this weekend. Division 5 of the Yorkshire Men's League, Criggleston All Blacks are set to host Scarborough Pirates. Durham Valley Bulldogs are hosting the Derby Elks. Batley are away at Lindley St Joseph's. And then you've got Garforth Tigers over at Farnley Falcons. And then Division 6 action, that sees the Moortown Mambas hosting Hemsworth Dragons. Birkenshaw Blue Dogs Academy at home to Guiseley Rangers. Charleston Rovers Academy over at Keighley Albion Academy. And Rycroft Hammers, they make the trip over to play against King Cross Park Academy. And that's your action coming up from the Yorkshire Men's League.
Always busy in Yorkshire, isn't it, Parker?
Really busy. You know where we're going to go next here, Steve?
No, go on, tell me where we're going, Parker.
We're going to Cumbria.
Yep.
And we're going to an article from our friends from the Cumbria Crack, who had a fantastic write-up last week about what was going on in Cumbria. I know you was impressed with the different quotes, weren't you, from the different coaches?
Yeah, it was, they got a good plethora of teams, which is always great.
It's great to get those different views as well. So let's start with Wathborough A, shall we? So they came out on top in the Holman Eagles and Cumberland ARL game of the day at Loka. The Hornets' second string collected the points from a hard-earned 32-22 victory, which was sealed in the last 10 minutes of the game. It was all square at half-time, 12 points each. So if we go through the Loka scorers, first of all, that saw Keith Campbell, Emerson Allen, Mullen Robinson and man of the match Finn Barwise all going over for tries for Loka, with Campbell kicking 3 goals. In the end though, 2 late tries, one of which was converted, carried the Hornets 18 to victory. Their scores came from Luke Davison with 2, man of the match Greg Rooney also with 2, James McCartney and Devon Sharp going over for tries. Matt Sibbald, we've mentioned him so often, haven't we, over the course of the season so far. He landed 4 goals. Local coach Lee Allen said it was a case of 2 good teams battling it out, but errors and lack of game management didn't help us. We were defending too much and getting tired, but at 22-22 after 70 minutes, either team could have gone on and won it. We'll regroup this week, go over a few things, and look forward to Kells A on Friday in the Amateur Cup. Paul Farrell, he's the Wathborough coach, he said it was an outstanding effort from all the lads. To win it with 2 great tries in the last 8 minutes after a very tough game showed our fitness levels are very high. It was played in really hot conditions, so we rotated the forward throughout and it paid off. I couldn't have asked for a better effort in those conditions over 80 minutes. We'd said from the start that we had to go the whole 80 minutes, and we did, so it was a very pleasing performance and will have done us the world of good ahead of our big cup game with Maryport next week. The Maryport derby, however, between Ellenborough A and Maryport had kicked off the weekend, and this was another tight contest, but really only for 40 minutes, as Maryport pulled away in the second half to eventually win 62 points to 12. Maryport had only led 16-12 at half-time. This is a phenomenal second-half performance, isn't it, by the way, from Maryport. But ran away with the game after the break, and they scored 46 unanswered points. A big crowd in glorious evening sunshine enjoyed the derby atmosphere. Robbie Thompson, he's the Ellenborough coach, said it was a brilliant first 30 minutes for us when we scored 2 converted tries. Maryport scored a couple of tries before half-time and then took control in the second half with their forwards the standouts. I thought the final scoreline didn't reflect the game, and the young Elborough A side all played well considering we hadn't played since March the 30th. They've had a bit of time off there, haven't they?
Yeah.
We go again next week at home to Cockermouth, and the lads will look to build on that first half performance to put in an 80-minute showing. Jason Todd and Shane Ackerley had scored the tries to put Elborough ahead, with both being converted by their man of the match, Rocco Ocassini. In the end, though, sorry, Steve.
No, you carry on.
At me. Yeah. I was saying, in the end, though, Maryport ended up with 11 tries, 9 of which converted by Blake Miller. I think it's going to be Miller time at the top of them scoring charts again after this, to be honest, Steve. Those touchdowns came courtesy of Sam Forrester. He landed 2. Miller with 1. Luke Cremins, Jack Shepherd, Joel Baker, Dan Fiddler, Carl Steele, Liam Anderson, Luke Baker and Joe Kirkup all got over for tries. The Maryport coach, Mark Foster, he said, "We're a bit scrappy in the first half, giving away too many penalties in what was a typical derby game played in warm conditions. We managed to get a bit of structure to our game in the second half and ran out convincing winners, but we will have to be a lot better for 80 minutes next week." Hensingham A, they were 20 points to 16 ahead at Cockermouth when they took the half-time break, but the Titans came back strongly in the second half. It's a game of second halves. It's a story of second halves this week. So the Titans eventually came back strongly to win 42-24. Cockermouth tries came courtesy of Spencer Fulton with 2, Ethan Cross, Dan Henderson, Fraser Murray, Lewis Shield, Reece Burr and Logan Scales. Regan Tinian kicked 5 goals. And Hensingham, their tries were scored by Matt Williams, 4 of them from him, and Dylan Cromwell, with Dylan Bragg landing 2 goals. Tell you what, that's absolutely phenomenal, scoring 4 tries in a losing effort.
I know.
He deserves a mention this week, doesn't
he? He does.
Cockermouth's man of the match was Callum Mars, with Theo Crow picking up the nomination for Hensingham. Chris Crow, he's the Hensingham coach, he said it was a really competitive game, but in the end Cockermouth deserved their win. We started really well and were up at half time, but in the second half Cockermouth used the hill really well and took advantage of some poor discipline from a young Hensingham side. Askham was celebrating their first win of the season when they beat Espatria 28 points to 20. Tries came from Jordan Hopkins, Chris Tyson, Jude McNamara, Chris Broadley and Luke McIntee, with Brad Jackson kicking 3 goals and Lewis Stables adding another. Espatria points came courtesy of tries from Ben Tootle, he landed 2. Jack Wilson and Mark Irwin also scored, with Tootle adding 2 goals. The Ascot man of the match was second row Dylan Barrow, while Espatria's starman was veteran forward James Robinson. The Ascot coach Chris Broadley, he said afterwards, "We had been behind in the first half, but we got points just before the break and I thought we controlled the second half. It was nice to get our first win, especially as we had a few players missing and had 7 players under 21 in the side, which is very promising for the future." Dylan Barrow was given the Man of the Match award by the referee, and it really was an outstanding performance in a good team display. I love how they asked the referee for Man of the Match. That's unusual.
He's not biased in any way, shape or form, is he?
No, and he's the man in the middle. He's seen how both sides are gone. Now, for Espatria, Mark Ridley, their coach, said congratulations to Askham on their first win. It was deserved. It was a good and bad day for Hornets. We completed our sets in the first half to build a 16-0 lead with some nice tries, but they scored just before half time, and after the break our discipline let us down. So that's your roundup of the action. What have we got from a fixtures point of view?
From the Cumbrian League, I've got to say a big thank you there, by the way, to the Cumbrian crowd. That's absolutely superb. report that they put in their local paper there. And hope you don't mind us using that, but obviously we want to carry on the great work that Lorraine de Graaf started, and obviously keep the your teams from up there in Cumbria, sort of giving them as much support and as much as coverage as possible.
Yeah, we found the fixtures for this week. So it's the Elam and Son Amateur Cup quarter-finals. We've got 3 games to take place. Hensingham hosting Glasson Rangers, Kells up against Lauca, Wafbrow Hornets up against Maryport. We'll bring you hopefully all those results and reaction next week. Now, looking elsewhere across the regional leagues, it's all started really right across the country. So in the London Premier Division, Elmbridge Eagles 16, Brixton Bulls 28. We've got West Warriors A 36, London Chargers A 16, and we have in the Midlands Premier Division, I've got Leamington Royals 0, Nottingham Outlaws 24, and in the Merit Division, Staffordshire Quantum 6, Sherwood Wolfhunt A 56. Your fixtures this coming weekend, well, certainly scheduled to play against each other. In the London Premier Division, Brighton and Hove up against the Elmbridge Eagles, Brixton Bulls set to host West Warriors A, and then you've got Medway Dragons over at London Chargers A. The East of England Premier Division, well, that's set to see Canvey Knights up against the Bedford Tigers A side, Hemel Stags up against the Anglian Vipers. And then in the Midlands, looking forward to these ones, Coventry Bears at home to Leamington Royals, Nottingham Outlaws host the Oxford Cavaliers, you've got Telford Raiders on the road at Sherwood Wolfhunt, and Birmingham Bulldogs are away at Swindon St George. And then action in the Merit Division, that's set to see Worcester Rebels hosting the Staffordshire Quantums, the Deeping Ducks up against the Lincolnshire Lions. So that's your fixtures from the regional leagues across the country. And then from the Southern Conference League, we see the results from last week. West Warriors 26, Hammersmith Hills Hoist 30, Brentwood Eels 12, Bristol All Golds 12, Bedford Tigers 24, North Hearts Crusaders 28. And a big story here, Eastern Rhinos against London Skolars postponed. No team available for London Skolars, or certainly not enough players. I don't know if you want to have this conversation now, Steve.
Yeah. I mean, what I'll do first, obviously, Phil Hodgson's raised this in the League Express this week, and I'll just read some of the piece that Phil has actually wrote, because I can understand where he's coming from at this. In this, it says obviously, it was disconcerting early on Saturday morning to see that the Southern Conference League match between Eastern Rhinos and London Scholars had been called off. I suspected the worst, and my worries were confirmed when it was verified that the Scholars had been unable to raise a team. Mm-hmm. My fervent hope is that London Scholars will turn things around. Certainly with people like Andrew Draxon around, they will have committee men with the experience and ability to do just that. And I'm sure that the other clubs in the Southern Conference will do everything they can to assist. The Scholars have certainly struggled since reverting to the SCL from the Betfred League One. Their open fixture at home to Bedford midway through last month finished in a 46 points to 38 defeat, but 7 days later, a trip to Brentwood ended in a 68 points to 8 reverse in a match in which was called early as the depleted visitors' numbers began to drop even further. April closed with a 64 points to 12 loss at home to Big Guns West Warriors, and the respite given through the Southern Conference have a rest week on Maybank holiday weekend clearly didn't give the Scholars enough time to regroup in time to fulfil their fixtures at Colchester, where Eastern Rhinos always present a formidable challenge. London Scholars' woes, which I hope will prove to be temporary, can, in my opinion, be traced back to the back end of last season. It goes on in a bit more length there, Phil. Mm-hmm. But what I pose to you, Parky, and as much as I feel sorry for London Scholars, it's not something that we've discussed is unusual. I mean, I suppose from our point of view, a team that we've discussed regularly is the way Pilks are going at the moment. Now they've dropped down, Pilks Rex in the NCL. I mean, fair enough, it may be more of a highlight on the Skolars, because they've obviously fallen down from the professional ranks. I've been quite a well-established team for good number of years now, but to suddenly see them sort of trickle down and sort of struggle with players. But like we say, there's quite a few teams who have struggled at various age groups. So consequently, that filling that gap to get players back in there is not all the easiest. And I'm sure some of the players that they would have had who'd have been playing professional for them, even though it would have been semi-professional, may not be there now, because obviously it's back down to being a community sport.
No, I've had the pleasure of covering quite a bit of League One Rugby League in one of my other Rugby League disguises, where I've been reporting for League Express. So over recent weeks, I've seen a couple of sides who have a couple of former Skolars players who undoubtedly, if they were still in the semi-pro ranks, they'd be down there. So you're talking of players like Lamek Juma, who's a phenomenal outside back in League One. He's as strong as a prop forward, yet he's as quick as a winger. The guy can shift and he can play a bit. And then you've got former skipper Aaron Small, who's currently pulling on the jumpers of Cornwall. So fair play to those guys for being able to get deals elsewhere. But I think the point that you raise about backfilling, they've got a completely different job on, to be fair, because anybody who was wanting to still get paid and could command has moved on. Because if you look at it, you've got Cornwall's took a couple of other players as well. You've got Midlands Hurricanes, who have also been in the market for players. I've already mentioned about someone from going there from Rochdale, or going to Rochdale, I should say. So the best of those players are still playing semi-professional rugby league. And I think that, Skolars, they have played in the London divisions, with their A team. So in essence, they've almost got promoted from that division into the Southern Conference. So it's, in a way, it's like those lads have stepped up another gear.
I suppose it's like moving from the Yorkshire Men's League or North West Men's League into the NCL type scenario.
It is really, and you've got to be ready for that. I think as results are showing so far this season, Featherstone Lions find themselves struggling as a National Conference League side. I'm not saying that they won't get there, but it just might take them a little bit longer than perhaps even they thought. Perhaps they thought they were a bit further on in development, and it's almost like they've had to go back, they've had to reassess, they've got to look at what's available to them now. Because let's be honest, there's a couple of other sides in that Southern Conference League who, they're the draw card. They take the best of the players, so how often do we mention West Warriors? How often do we mention Hammersmith Hills Hoist? So these guys, they're established in that division.
That's right,
Really established. So London Skolars were never going to go and take players off them, because why should they move? They're happy, we know already, so in a lot of ways, and this is where I feel sorry for London Skolars, because you go back and you trace their roots. They started in 1995. So you're talking nearly 30 years of rugby league being played around North London, London Skolars. And this is the sad thing about it, because they were obviously deemed strong enough and good enough to enter League One. Took them a couple of years to get established, but they were starting, certainly if you look over recent seasons, they've had some startling results. There was one point where they were right on the fringes of the playoffs and were playing really, really well. But as often happens, players then move on because they get spotted by other teams, and as a result, all the players, like I said, that were set to get paid, they are still getting paid. They're still playing around the semi-pro ranks. Other guys have probably had their fill of it for now, so they might have stepped back, and you've got a range of young players that are starting to fill the holes. It's a little bit like, if you're thinking about it, Dudley Hill. I know I'm chucking that out there, but Dudley Hill for years limped on in the National Conference League until they could no longer sustain it. So they've had to step in, and initially, I think if we're talking like last season, they didn't make a whole success of the division that they were in. They're starting to get stronger now. So it might take... I've mentioned as well about Stanley Rangers.
Yeah.
It's taken them a number of seasons to build up. So I think that I hope that there is some longevity there. It's still worthwhile. I loved my trips going to Skolars, by the way. You know, fantastic community venue.
Yeah.
Just at the top of White Hart Lane.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm not sure whether they're still playing out of that venue. I think they will. I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like a community athletic stadium, what they play at. Great setting, you know, very multicultural area of London.
Yeah.
They've obviously had some success there before. I wish them every success, but I think it just might take a little bit of time for them to
just
get settled.
Regrouping and just see what you've got and where do we go from here. Let's get back again.
It's a slow burn for them,
yeah.
but you know, it's a massive thing that suddenly they've gone from being semi-pro to being totally community and amateur based again.
Yeah.
That's a huge change, and there'll be some players that'll be used to it, but I bet most of those players that are used to it are used to playing in their A team, which has been playing in a different competition anyway. So, like you say, it's very similar to making a step up in standards.
Very much so, yeah.
And then, like I say, you're coming up against established teams like West Warriors, Hammersmith Hills Hoists, Brentwood Eels, Bedford Tigers. They've all been around that comp, and as a result, they're all improving together year on year. So they find themselves a little bit behind the 8 ball. It's disappointing, and everybody will look and certainly perhaps put more of an emphasis on it because of the name and the fact that they've been a semi-pro club previously. But for me, this is like them starting again. Please tell me if I'm wrong, Skolars fans, because I want to be told if it's something a little bit different. But this is from an outsider looking in. Certainly, as I say, there's a lot of players that have moved on, and we've got this new breed of London Skolars players that I think might take a little bit of time to get settled into that competition.
Yeah, it's sad, but as I say, it's not uncommon. I think it's just because there are it's a bigger fall. It seems a bigger fall from grace. And I think that's why. But yeah, we wish them all the very best indeed on sort of getting things together.
We certainly do. And if you're involved at London Skolars, you want to come and have a chat with us. We're open to it. If there's anything that we can do as a show to try and advance and get the word out for you, then we're quite happy.
More than happy to do that.
To do that as well, aren't we? So your fixtures in the Southern Conference League this weekend. That sees London Skolars are set to play. They're set to host London Chargers. Bristol All Golds are hosting West Warriors. Eastern Rhinos are over at the Hammersmith Hills Hoists, and the North Hearts Crusaders, they're hosting Brentwood Eels. So fascinating fixtures coming up, Steve.
Yeah, they certainly are.
Some worrying developments in Barrow Amateur Rugby League, because once again, no games took place last weekend. So Dalton and Ulverston was off on Wednesday evening. We were saying we were wondering whether we'd get a result through for that, weren't we?
Yeah.
Millham against Walney Central was cancelled. Walney withdrew from the league on Friday.
Wow.
Hinepool and Roost Pioneers, they were set to host Barrow Island. That was off as well.
It's funny you should said about Walney, because I'm sure they've drawn out. They withdrew out of the Northwest Men's League this year as well.
Okay.
Because they were in the same division as Newton, Storm and Roost Pioneers.
So they're another team that is falling from grace, because I remember Walney being in the National Conference League as well in a few years ago. Yeah. Well, it might be more than a few years ago now, but they were in there and they were seen as a strong club at the time.
Yeah.
So again, sport's cyclical, isn't it?
Yeah.
And sometimes you go through these periods where you need to reinvent.
That's right.
Sort of almost put things on hold until you've got the interest, you've got the players coming through. Again, we wish Walney Central all the best, don't we, moving forward? I want to go over and talk National Conference League. But before we go into anything else in great detail, I want to turn to our featured game last week. So this was over on our Mixlr channel. It's something that you'll be able to listen to on Friday evening when we're over at Latchford, as they host Oral St James. But both myself and Steve, we ventured out to Parsons Meadow and we saw Wigan St Judes take on Shawcross Sharks.
Green cooling keeps the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League show cool, even when tackles get heated.
We're live for our National Conference League action this afternoon. It comes as Wigan St Judes take on the Shawcross Sharks. It's going to be stopped just inside the field of play. Woods at dummy half, pops it left. Stevenson, short ball. It was a short ball. They're going to crash their way over. Can you see that number? But I have a feeling that it's Brandon French who's opened the scoring. Lister will come forward to the mark made by the touch judge. Taps, turns it to Woods. Woods finds Neagle. He really did go from deep with that carry, didn't he? Bounced through a couple of challenges. He's 10 metres out from the line. It's turned left. Tomlinson out to Stevenson. Stevenson steps, gets it out to Ashen. Ashen throws a dummy. Ashen surges on. Ashen's got to the line. He's scored here as Tom Ashen. 8th try of the season for Ashen. That was some beautiful work there. 12 points to 0. Now Turner. Long ball to Holt. Holt short ball looking for Duffy. Duffy releases it. It was a scrappy pass. Still the movement continues with Cassidy. Cassidy's created a gap.
Cassidy's in.
Scored.
He's in.
It's an individual score from Danny Cassidy. Did really, really well there. He drifted off down the right-hand side. Managed to pierce the defence.
Got to give the big man a shout there, number 21, managing to drive it in, get the ball out.
Ryan
Duffy. Absolutely superb. It's done what he needs to do when he comes on it. Take a couple of men in, get that ball out. And obviously, once Cassidy gets in his hands, a little bit of Danny Cassidy magic there, stepping in and going over.
It's another penalty the way of Shawcross. They're just hemorrhaging these penalties again. Wigan St Judes before the break.
Can I add that too?
I think these are great tactics. These from Shawcross because he successfully puts them 8 points clear at the break.
Yeah.
So 12 points to 6 is the advantage currently for Shawcross Sharks. Can Tomlinson make that deficit a little more deeper? Yes, he can. It's 14 points to 6. And away we go for the second half. He sends it long, does Cassidy. Woods is underneath it. He'll feed the ball infield looking for Tennyson Neagle. Oh, it's a great run from Neagle. It's a superb drive. He's gone 30 metres there. What a run back from the start of the second half. Oh, and then the pass was disrupted out of dummy half and then put down by Tomlinson. He's still going his Stanton. Eventually loses his footing.
Last tackle.
2 metres out from the line. Rothwell goes short to Duffy.
Oh, yes.
Oh, they've old manned him. That's a brilliant piece of play.
An absolute worldie of a dummy. Goes in on the right-hand side of the post. And that is just coming up to 6 minutes in the second half.
So 46 minutes of the game gone. Ball comes out to Fallon. Drops it back. Looking for Rowe.
And he's setting up for something here, Judes.
It goes left.
The other way.
They are setting up for something. They are setting up for something. It's going to be a try. It's a superb bit of play down that left-hand side. And Brogan Turner comes up with his 9th score of the season.
Yeah, on the 23rd minute, Parker. We were all set for the ball, possibly coming over towards us on this right-hand side. Turned it back inside, going down the left. Found the gaps, found the player.
9th try of the season for Brogan Turner. And it's actually given St Jude's the lead. Ball back to Cassidy. Cassidy's on the last tackle. Skies it. Well, that's a really high kick. Ashen spilled it. He's picked up.
By Cassidy's back in. He's underneath. He's underneath.
Cassidy following up. The kick came in. The error was made by Ashen. And that could be crucial. And we've mentioned about talismanic players. Cassidy is just that man for Wigan St Judes. Cometh the hour, cometh the Cassidy.
Yeah, what a ball. I mean, it was nothing spectacular, but it was high. So it was always putting doubt into the fullback's mind, which meant that obviously the players could get up, put some pressure, the ball went off him, and give
How good from Stanton, though.
Give Cassidy's due, though. He followed it up. You know, and we've said time and time again, it's always on the shoulder of somebody looking for that. You know, a little bit of something, those scraps of things.
How good was Stanton, though? I mean, that was brilliant from him, wasn't it? The way he was able to take that ball in and then tip it back in field. He was going for the line there, was Max Sheard, and he's tackled high. And the referee's going to his back pocket. What colour is this one?
It's a yellow.
It's a yellow for Duffy.
Foul man Duffy.
It comes after what time, Steve?
It comes after second half. It's at 30 minutes, so just 10 minutes to go. So that could possibly see the last of all from Mr. Duffy.
He stopped a try, didn't he?
Yeah, looks like it's a try, Parker.
Yeah, he's given a penalty try. Because Matt Sheard was taken high. He's decided that foul came just at that period of time. So it's one of those 8-point tries that we see. 24 points to 22.
I've got to say, they rode as ends teeth in the community game.
It goes to Rennox. He's put down right in front of the posts.
Cassidy barking the orders to his
ball will reach him.
He's
sent to Parkinson.
Beautiful ball.
Well, he disguised himself superbly there, Connor Parkinson. He disguised himself behind the play of the ball, popped into the gap. It was almost like the two of them were on another page. They feed the ball, they work together superbly, and Cassidy's come up with an important try assist there, and Connor Parkinson has scored it. They're in front again here at St Judes, 28 points to 26.
Parker, he's a magician. He's a magician. I mean, cool as a cucumber. What have we got? We're all on time, aren't we? I wouldn't be surprised after this kick that the referee doesn't blow. They're very, very close.
It flicks it back in field. It bounces awkwardly. Can they keep it moving? Yes, they do to Parkinson. They're trying to recover possession. The ball goes loose. They're going to drop on it here at Wigan St Judes. They have won it. A titanic struggle. A really, really close encounter. The referee's whistle sounds and Wigan St Judes pick up a dramatic win in a real ding-dong battle at the top of Division 2 of the National Conference League.
Parker, we expected a big and we got better than that, didn't we? That was real end-to-end stuff between two giants in this division.
Rugby League's secret weapon, Green Cooling, scores with the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show.
It was a superb game, that, wasn't it? Breathless.
Oh, I'll tell you. It was a great day all around. Weather was absolutely beautiful. And obviously, we spoke about this during the match, you know, what effects would that have on the players? Not just the heat, but obviously it made the ground hard. So there was, some really clever kicks from both sides, because Tomlinson used the hard ground really, really good with some of his short grubber kicks to the touchline and some of his little bombs that were up there. I mean, it could have been anybody's game, but it was to watch it. The skills from both sides, and yeah, you got to take your hats off to them both.
Yeah, I mean, it was a storming game, wasn't it? You know, throughout, and certainly going from end to end. I have to admit, I did think when we got to half time, I thought Shawcross were deserved of the lead. I thought that they played a bit more constructive, didn't they, in the first half? I was really impressed with the two big centres, actually. So Brandon French, who went over for the try, and then the guy on the other side as well was also pretty formidable at times as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And then you got Tom Ashen linking in at the back, scored a fantastic try when he linked in, and then, like we said, Matt Sheard going in for the score, the penalty try.
Yeah.
Which was. It was quite controversial when it came, that, wasn't it?
Well, I think it was unexpected, because obviously, I mean, there was no real dirty play in the game at all, and in fact, if I'm not wrong, there wasn't a massive amount of penalties for head-eye tackles. I mean, we've discussed this in the past at a couple of games that we've been to, where a couple of referees have been really, really keen on it, and then the majority of the games we've seen that you wouldn't have noticed any difference in the change of the rules in that respect. from my point of view, we've got to say, going back to the weather again, I thought the props for Shawcross Sharks, Tennyson Needle and Zach Parkinson, very impressed with them on the day. There was obviously the beginning of the second half where you commentated on Needle taking the first drive up in that second half.
Yeah, it was about 30 metres he made, wasn't it? Right off the back. He came from the in-goal area, steamed onto possession, and he was like an unstoppable bull, wasn't he?
Yeah. And obviously Tomlinson, who we spoke about and we've seen before, who we're always impressed with. He had a good game as well. But first half, I mean, to be honest, I agree with you. I think Shawcross Sharks were value for money for that half-time lead. But Wigan St Judes were their own worst enemy, giving penalties away, weren't they? I mean, and then in the second half, it flipped slightly where Shawcross started giving a few penalties away, and it dragged things a little bit more even, which from our point of view made it a cracking competition.
Ended up being 18 points scored by Danny Cassidy. I know I came up with my quote of the season so far: cometh the man, cometh the Cassidy. Cometh the hour, cometh the Cassidy.
Yeah, but it's magic. He's magic, Parker.
And you called him the magic man.
Yeah, I mean, we've watched him a couple of seasons. We've seen him quite a few times at Judes, and obviously had a couple of games at Crossfields, didn't he, last year? But he's a great player to watch. I mean, he, again, as I said during commentary, he's not the quickest of guys, but his brain, his rugby brain is absolutely superb, and he's always involved there, always puts a good pass in. It's always a quality pass in there. His kicking game is great as well. And again, like I said, he's always on the shoulder of whoever's breaking through, which just shows again, it's that sort of half-backs mentality that, right, I'll follow this player through because there could be a little offload here. If I'm available, well, I'll make myself available. And obviously his kicking, his actual kicking for goals, and is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And we go on about, if you've got a good goal kicker in this competition, you're on to a winner, full stop. But yeah, great game all round.
There was two other crucial plays for me, so there was the Connor Parkinson try, and then Shawcross keeping the ball alive in the final 30 seconds in breathless fashion. Yeah. I'm thinking, somebody stop him, because I need a breath. I was trying to gasp for air at one stage.
It was like a wide to west moment, wasn't it? Because everybody was involved. And the halfback, Stevenson, I think it is, for Shawcross Sharks, the amount of times he had his hands on the ball in just one move, because the ball went from side to side.
And he was going from side to side as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. But yeah, it was a great match, Parker. Nice crowd out there to watch it. Lovely day. The return's going to be a beauty.
Quality game between two quality sides, and it really does set up the top of this division perfectly, doesn't it? In Division 2 of the National Conference League. So it finished 30 points to 26, and afterwards, I got some Wigan St Judes reaction. First of all, we're going to hear from skipper Connor Parkinson.
13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show, discussing the greatest game at all grassroots levels.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, I'm alongside Connor Parkinson. That was a completely breathless game, and a win for St Judes, but snatched from the jaws of potential defeat. I mean, how do you sum up? You scored the final try, Connor.
I don't know, it was still knackered there, to be honest. Probably the toughest game we've had this year. It was back and forth all game. They'd have momentum had changed, we'd have momentum, and then when they got a penalty try at the end, I think last season would have probably last season a lot of heads would have dropped, but I think the sort of like mentality that we've built this year, I think we're still confident that we could snatch it at the end, and luckily we found the gap, and I managed to pop up on the end.
It was a really smart move at the end, you know, and Danny Cassidy just had one of those dream sort of games, didn't he? Where he's either, if he's not scoring the points, he's setting somebody up.
Yeah,
and
that's it.
You'd sort of just hidden yourself behind the ruck and suddenly burst into the gap, didn't you?
Yeah, it's something we've worked on for a couple of years, to be honest. I think only this year we've started getting it right. As long as Danny gets deep into the line and he attracts all the defenders, the gap just opens for me, and it's all Danny, to be fair, but yeah, I'm just there at the right time, luckily.
We're sort of chatting after the hottest day of the year as well. What's it like to play in those sort of conditions? Probably a good sort of prelude for going to Australia in a way.
Yeah, it just felt like it. Was it like 20 odd degrees? I mean, even when you walk into the changing room, it's like when you step off a plane. Yeah. And
then you suddenly realise your surroundings and think, no, I've not just landed in Tenerife.
Yeah, exactly. And you realise you've got another 80 minutes of rugby play. So no, it was great. It's a great game.
I mean, it was just so close. It was so nip and tuck. Were you a little bit disappointed with where you found yourself, kind of at half time?
Yeah, definitely. I think quite a few decisions went where we wasn't getting many of the 50-50s, but like you've got to just get on with it, haven't you? So I think it was about 8 points down at half time, but still, like in the team huddle, we were still confident. Like it was obviously we wasn't where we want to be, but it was only positive talk. So.
And obviously that penalty try, you're thinking, right, everything's now going against us, and then suddenly you just find some extra spark, don't you?
Yeah, so I don't think it was a penalty try anyway, because I was in front of him when he did the high tackle, but you've got to just get on with it, haven't you? So we managed to get ourselves into good field position and pulled off one of the moves that we've been working on, so yeah, it's all good.
I suppose what this does mean is that you've now pinned them back. You're level on points with Shawcross at the top of the league, and it promises that when you two meet again further down the line in the season, that's going to be further titanic, isn't it?
I think we've got them last game at season at Shawcross, so yeah, it could be a. Well, I don't want to say it's going to be a decider because it's way too early in the season for that, but yeah, focus now is on next week, Normanton away. It doesn't get much easier.
Yeah, you're in the middle of this run at the moment, aren't you? Which started at Pilks a few weeks ago, and then you're in all these teams which are around the top four now, aren't you?
Yeah, like when we first looked at the May fixtures, it was Dewsbury, Shawcross, Normanton, and like we knew that we needed to get 6 points out of them, and we're past halfway to doing that now. So one more to go and then a week off. But yeah, I think we'll enjoy it tonight. But yeah, it doesn't get much easier Normanton away.
I'll go and let you enjoy this one. Thanks again, Connor. Great game.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks, Dave.
Every tackle, every try, every scrum. Green Cooling is proud to be part of the Community Rugby League family.
He's right, isn't he? When he was saying about it promises to be a titanic battle when the two meet up later in the year.
Yeah, I mean, they're outstanding. At the moment, they're the outstanding couple of teams. But like you were saying, next week's fixture, it's not going to be the easiest with Normanton Knights. But yeah, got to say a big well done to Shawcross Sharks there, hoovering their changing rooms before they left.
It sounded like there was a Henry Hoover going on in the background there, or other types of Hoover, if they wanted to sponsor us, are available. Yeah, but yeah,
Parker, you do realise you're Dyson with death there.
Oh.
We'll leave that one there. We'll leave that one there.
That's terrible. I can't even come back to that one. It shows my lack of knowledge of hoovering products, doesn't it, really, to be honest. But did you notice the vacuum?
Oh.
Right, okay, I'm moving on. We also caught up with Steve's magician of the day, Danny Cassidy.
13 Pro-Am, giving a voice to Community Rugby League.
Okay, I'm with Danny Cassidy. Danny, have you been involved in stuff which has had such a dramatic ending before?
No, it was the first one for me, penalty try, and then for us nicking at the end like we did, I think, brilliant. It's a great advert for our league. Luckily we just did enough to get over.
I don't know about just nicking it, because I mean, to be fair, you worked really tough, didn't you, to get yourself back into it when you trailed like 14-6 at half time?
Yeah, it's just one of them. We never die anymore. We're digging and we work together for each other. And like I say, it showed that before. We did everything what Myers told us. We had a bit of a telling off at half time, and I think we come out better side second half, and we fully deserved the win. It
certainly seemed like you was playing more constructively second half and finishing a lot better where you wanted to finish.
Yeah, the message was just basically get back to completed sets. I think our completion at first half we were below 50%. You're never going to win games like that, and once we started doing it, it's shown. We got our joy, and we stuck in there and we got the result.
I want to ask you about that last play, because it's almost like you hid Connor and then suddenly he pops up and you went to him and the gap opened up.
Yeah, we've been trying it for a couple of years now. We tried it at Pilks of a week and it worked then, so I thought, why not? Hopefully if it's run right, there's not a lot of teams you can defend it, and luckily everything come off and it worked well.
Got to say as well, from a personal point of view, I know this sport is all about teams, it's all about the bonds that you make and everything, but 18 points ain't a bad return for a day either.
No, but like I say, I'm just there to do what I have to as an halfback. As long as we're winning and we're getting results, that's all I'm bothered about. It's not about me, it's about the team.
Well, that second try as well, where you put the ball high, I've got to say as well, Reece chasing after it, you know, his chase was tremendous, and it was probably some of those big guys, they don't always get the mentions they deserve, do they?
No, but to be fair, it's quickest I've ever seen him move. You'd have thought there was a pie behind try line, but yeah, credit to him, he's got off his line, the wingers spilled him, we've got a reward again. It's them little 1%ers would have getting us wins.
I think what this does show is that this club, I mean, we've said it, I say it nearly every time that I speak to somebody from Judes now, you're on an upward trajectory now, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, you only have to look at our team today again. I think we had 6 or 7, 18, 19-year-olds, so give it a couple of years and we want to be up there in the Prem competing, and I think there's no reason why we can't.
What's it feel like being one of the old boys then? You know, you're only 27.
To be fair, it's taking me longer to get over a game. I know that. It's never took me a few days, but no, it's good. At the end of the day, they look up to me, them lads, and I just like passing my experience on to them and trying to remain positive around them, which is the hardest bit for me. But I think I'm improving on that in my own game, and it's showing across the team.
As you said, what an advert for National Conference League Division 2. I'll go and let you enjoy it, pal.
Thanks a lot there, thank you.
Green Cooling keeps the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League show cool, even when tackles get heated.
Two things there from that interview. First of all, he's right. If you're ever completing around 50%, you're never going to get anywhere near a result.
Yeah, and they were, same as I said before, I mean, they were their own worst enemy with a lot of them, you know, sort of, I think there was a couple of it were like play the balls and different things like that, you know, just core skills. They tidied them up, and the second half they came out and they looked a lot more structured, a lot more, you know, together, and he was the heart of absolutely everything.
And secondly, he name-checked Reece there and reckoned there was a pie behind the try line with his speed. Have you ever seen a prop forward chase as hard onto a kick before?
Well, on that sort of day as well, we were on about the two props there from Shawcross, but obviously, I mean, similarly on the St Judes side, they wanted to win. There was no ifs and buts about it, and he's right. The way they celebrated behind the post when Connor scored that last try, it was like it was a cup final. That's how how much it was to them, and that'll give them loads of confidence and belief.
Right, I'm going to stick with Division 2 for the time being. We've had our says really this last couple of years about the fall of Pilkington Rex.
Yeah.
So it is only right when they come up with a sterling performance when they beat none other than Normanton.
That's right, yeah.
By 34 points to 30.
We've discussed in the past, Parky, haven't we, looking at those results on a Saturday? You know, flicking through it. This was one of those where it was a bit of a double take, I must admit.
I have to admit, I did. I checked the team sheet 3 times just to make sure I'd read it right. But Pilkington Rex, they're off the foot of the table. They're above Myton and Saddleworth now, and ended their losing run with a stunning 34-30 win over promotion hopefuls Normanton Knights. The victory was more comfortable than the final scoreline might suggest. Pilks had been 34 points to 6 ahead before the Knights posted late tries by Charlie Barker on 66 minutes, and in the last 3 minutes Jacob Crossland, Taylor Carter and Elliot Davey, with Crossland landing 3 goals to add to his conversion of Alfie Beresford's opening. Carter meanwhile improved his own effort, so they had a little bit of a collapse there, to be fair, but still just had too much in the end, fortunately. The Rex had responded to Beresford's early try with a Josh O'Connell brace and touchdowns from Scott Pennington, James Smith, I'm sure that should be Jamie Smith, Callum Cunniff and Tom Connick, plus 5 Kieran Napper goals. Unfortunately, we did have a couple of cards in this game as well. So Scott Simmons, he got himself red carded after 52 minutes for fighting. Thomas Jordan also joined him off the field for the same event.
Got to ask the question, was that the lad or dad?
That's the lad.
Because I'd say they were probably both playing again, weren't they?
They was, yeah. Dewsbury Celtic, they bounced back from an early Mike Ward try to beat Mighton Warriors 46 points to 16 and nose ahead of Normanton into 4th spot. They're having a good season at the moment, aren't they, Dewsbury Celtic?
Yes.
Joe Mitchell set the rally in motion with a brace, while the prolific Billy Yarrow maintained the assault with no less than 4 tries. This is an excellent effort from a hooker, by the way.
Yeah.
Billy Yarrow has played in the pro ranks over recent seasons. He's been linked with Oldham. But obviously they've got now a whole host of stars that they've brought in, that they've reinvented the club, and Yarrow's ended up going back to Dewsbury Celtic. I'm sure that everybody at Celtic are delighted to have him back in the ranks, because he is a top young player, that lad. So he scored 4 tries. Mitch Cummins and Harry Copley also popped in, while Paul Fulston landed 6 goals. Happy to see Harry Copley in there as well. So he's another young player that he's making his mark. Jack Sanderson and Liam Ward replied for Mighton. Liam Fox improving both efforts in the Warriors' 6th successive outing now without a win. Oldham St Anne's, they posted victory, 32 points to 12 at Barrow Island, who have now lost their last 3 matches. Anne's are in 3rd, and the Island are just above the drop zone, following a game in which the visitors were 12-0 up before having Jack Etchell simmined on 19 minutes for a high tackle. Barrow Island claimed an Aaron Wright try and Sam Jones goal after he trudged off. Oldham St Anne's posted a Richard Pogson penalty goal on his return. Pogson then converted tries by Dan Nixon and Etchells for a 26-6 half-time advantage. Sam Jones scored a try and goal on 55 minutes for Barrow Island before Matteo Zaffino closed the visitors' account. Pogson added his 6th goal. And then Ellenborough, they've leapfrogged Thornhill into 6th spot, bouncing back from Jordan Edwards' 20th minute touchdown to win 22-10 with a try and 4 goals by Keenan Winter, and touchdowns to Rocco Ocassini and Zach Alstrom. So I think Ocassini played on the Friday night for the A team.
Yeah, if I remember rightly, do you remember when we were speaking before?
So we do get young players doubling up, especially across Cumbria.
I thought I've heard that name before, yeah.
The Trojans hit back with Joel Gibson's try and goal, but Rangers settled the issue with Sean Mumberson's late penalty goal. So that was your action from Division 2 of the National Conference League. In Division 1, Heworth 22, Egremont Rangers 10. So last week we said about how well Egremont had done to nil Hunslet.
Yeah.
We've got to praise Heworth for coming up with this win, haven't we? 22 points to 10 against Egremont. They scored tries through Earl, Sadler, Barnard and West, with Allen kicking 3 goals. The Rangers, they had scores to cheer from Corkhill and Brocklebank. Matt Busher kicking a goal as well. But ultimately, they were always behind the 8 ball. They trailed by 12 points to 4. And that's an excellent win for Heworth. Hunslet got back to winning ways in resounding fashion.
Somebody put in the hornet's nest, haven't they?
I think they have, yeah. They defeated West Bowling by 66 points to 10. 11 tries scored by Hunslet, by the way, and 11 goals kicked from Jordan Gale. So McClellan scored a couple of tries, Dargan scored a couple of tries, Cork, Craig McShane, Dodd and Abson scored 2 tries. Morgan and Benson finishing off the scoring as far as Hunslet were concerned. Bowling had tries from Elliot Cousins, who we spoke to last week, and Halmshaw, who is one of the top number 9s in the National Conference League. Cole kicked a goal, but ultimately they were second best on the day. Yeah, and that's a great win, that again for Hunslet, bouncing back ominously into form. Kells 42, Thatto Heath Crusaders 6. Thatto's season is limping along at the moment, it would be fair to say. They only troubled the scoring in the second half with a try from Saunders, a goal from Horton. The Miners, meanwhile, they scored tries from Parker with 2, Grant Gameford with 2. In fact, he had an afternoon out to Gameford because he also added 6 goals as well. Parker added a goal. Ennis, Clark and Culneen were the other try scorers for Kells, and that's an impressive performance from them, which keeps them just inside the playoff positions by a point difference. West Hull have moved into second spot on the ladder, courtesy of a 36-10 win at Rochdale Mayfield. This is an impressive victory, this one, for West Hull. So Mayfield, they had tries from McDade and Newsham, 1 goal from Parr, but ultimately it was West Hull who proved far too strong. A hat-trick scored by Middlemass. Other scores coming from Wilson, who also added 6 goals, Lennon and Tyson Wilson. West Hull were leading 16-4 at half-time, and it got better and better for them. And then, tell you what, you can't doubt Loughborough Hornets, can you? They're always a side that rises into these playoff positions. And yes, they've had a bit of a dodgy spell within the league. They've lost 4 of the first 9 games, but they've picked up their 5th win of the season, defeating York Acorn 30-6 and avenging that Challenge Cup defeat which we saw on York Acorn's territory.
Which is another one of our commentary games, which was an absolute cracker. We said it time and time again. We've got a team that are really good at home, though, Loughborough. You've got a team, by their own admission, are poor travellers.
Yes. So something had to give there,
something had to give to some extent. But, I bet that was another good game.
Hornets scoring tries through McCourt, Caddy, McConnell, Holgate and King, with Walker Taylor adding 5 goals. Porter adding the York Acorn try, with Matt Chilton kicking the goal. Into Division 1, and we've said over recent weeks as well how things have been looking a little bit desperate for Clockface Miners. Well, I'm delighted to reveal that this week they've had a really successful weekend. They defeated Woolston Rovers by 30-8. Leyden, Graham, Geraghty, Jack Jones scoring tries, Hughes grabbing a couple as well. Goal split between Naylor, who grabbed 1, McCartan, who kicked 2. For Woolston, they were well behind the 8 ball. Pendlebury and Dixon scoring their 2 tries, but they trailed by 18-4 at half time, and Clockface went on and got the job done in the second half.
Yeah, Woolston gone a little bit off the boil at the moment, and well done to Clockface Miners to get back on the horse and sort of get into it. To be fair, I thought Woolston Rovers might have edged that one. So for Miners to win with such a big scoreline, interesting results, and well done, Clockface.
I know we were at an excellent game on Saturday, but this next one also looks like it was a top game over at Crossfields. Wigan St Pat's just overcoming a stubborn home side, 28-24. So the Soap had a couple of tries from Bradish, Taylor going in for 2, Stanway going in for a try and kicking 2 goals as well, Brad Stanway. But Pats, after trailing 12-8 at half time, had scores from Connor Taylor, Thompson, Kendrick, Fisher with 2 and Sproat. Only 2 goals. I tell you what, it seems every team that goes to Crossfields this season can't seem to land that many goals from the attendance. Whether they've got some crossbreeds that sort of turns up there and really puts players off kicking goals this season, I have no idea, but there's definitely a kicking curse that has gone on there.
That's a close one, that.
Taylor and Highland getting the goals for Wigan St Pat's. But when you're scoring, I mean, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tries. You should be expecting to win the game, really, shouldn't you? You know, and you're hoping that it's not going to come down to goal kicks. Well,
I think I cursed him at the beginning of the season when.
It's ever since you said that. Stanway's a magnificent kicker, and he's landed 2 from 5 there. Lee Miners Rangers came up with a big win away from home, defeating Hull Dockers by 34-10. Heel with 2 tries for Dockers, 1 goal from Agar. Miners coming up with the win though, a couple of tries from Ashworth, McGowan also going over, Libbard and Parks going in. Great to give Matty Parks a mention, by the way. He was one of the heroes of Italy a couple of years ago with the England Community Lions under-19 side, so he's playing more regularly in the Rangers first team. Kenyon scored the other try. Great to see Pilkington back out there. Sam Pilkington getting the goals as well, kicking 5 goals for Lee Miners Rangers, who led by 18-4 at half time. We had a couple of other results as well from that division. Alton Raiders 38, Skirler 20. So Skolars been doing it tough. They've got a slightly better point difference at the moment, which keeps them just above Woolston and Clockface towards the foot of that division. But the Raiders, they grabbed tries through Lowry with 2. Holdsworth scored 3. I think I remember speaking to Ulton Raiders and about particularly Holdsworth in particular, because he's one of these guys that has been a regular try scorer throughout his days. Usually you'd pick up a League Express on a Monday morning, in the olden days before he used to get the team sheets, and you'd be thinking, he's an half decent player, he's going in for tries every week, and he's there again amongst the tries. I think this is the second time he's got a hat trick this season, so good to see him in some semblance of form. Watson and Kieran Walpole going in for tries as well, with Craggs kicking 5 goals for Ulton Raiders. Skolars, they did respond through Danby, Tansey and Dunn, with Gilby kicking 4 goals, but ultimately they couldn't turn their half-time lead, 12 points to 8, into a win. Ulton Raiders with an impressive second half, showing winning the second half by 30 points to 8 to take the points. Stanley 18, Waterhead Warriors 34. This is a great result on the road for Waterhead, who seem to be stringing some wins together. They struggled a little bit initially, didn't they? But they found their feet, and they're now pushing their way up the league, as I think we anticipated they would do. We said that, didn't we? Early doors, we were surprised at the losses that they had, and they've sort of just steadied the boat. I think they're in round about the 5th position now, just behind Crossfields, with 10 points. I'm sure to a certain degree that they'll be happy with that, because obviously it gives them a good foothold into pushing for the playoffs. Hamilton scored a try. Owen grabbed 2. Murphy, another one of those Italian heroes. Dodds and Perks also going in for tries. Both Dodds and Perks have also represented the England Community Lions programme at different stages. So I think Perks was playing for the under-23s the other season, and Dodds was an under-16s international a couple of years ago. So great to see him pushing his way through. Brennan adding 5 goals. Stanley, they scored all their points in the first half. Walker, Dyer Dixon and Adams scoring the tries, with goal split between Salkeld and Parker. So I said Stanley were leading 18-10 at half time. So this is an even more notable second half performance from Waterhead to claim the points, isn't it? And then finally, what do we say about this one? So this is Ince Rosebridge 16, Dewsbury Moor Maroons 0. However, this game was abandoned after 64 minutes following a brawl.
So it was 16-0.
16-0 at that stage to Ince Rosebridge. Aspinall and Butler had scored the tries. Robbie Valentine had kicked 4 goals, by the way.
So 68 minutes. Would that stand, or would they have to replay it?
Well, usually what would happen in circumstances like this is if a game gets abandoned, like this one was, the referee would put a report together of what the incident was which caused the abandonment. He submits that to the league. If a referee is then going to abandon a game, he'll bring both captains to him. He'll have that chat. The game will get called at that particular point. And to answer your question, this is covered in the operational rules for the National Conference League. So if a match is abandoned, the management group will determine whether the game is awarded to either team or the result shall stand. The match will be rescheduled as directed by the management group, and the decision of the management group in relation to such matters shall be final. So for me, there's a bit of water to go under the bridge before this gets announced. I know certainly if a game does get called in this sort of respect, it goes to like a disciplinary committee. Where they have a look at the findings and have a look at the referee's report and draw the conclusions from that. So
it's not a sort of position where if you've played, say, 3/4 of the match, then the result automatically stands.
It's a decision for the management group to then have a look at that. So they'll take into account a number of factors, regarding that as well. So you're talking, they'll look at things like that, I'm sure, but they'll also look at the situation around how the game was abandoned, what might happen. There's various things that they can look at from what I just read from that.
Yeah. The other thing is, looking at it, I mean, this is two teams at the top of the division as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So you wouldn't have expected it to get abandoned. Put it that way. You would have expected it to go the full distance, wouldn't you? So, I wish we could report a little bit more positively about that, to be honest, because up until that stage, it sounded like Ince Rose Bridge were doing a good job on it.
Yeah. Well, I think obviously once we find out some, results of what the outcome of that hearing is, we'll certainly pass that on. But we'll see what happens there.
Division 3, we've got a couple of results from this. So, you know what? I'm going to actually praise Featherstone Lions because, they have been a bit of the kicking boys, haven't they, so far in the Division 3. But they put in one heck of an effort at home to Hensingham at the weekend. They lost by 20 points to 36 and actually led by 14-12 at half-time. So the Lions had tries from Millard, Stanley, Bell and Wise. Johnson kicking 2 goals. For Hensingham, it's that kid Miller Dalton coming up with a couple of tries. Holgate going over as well. Starkey scoring a try. Egan, Stanaway and McGarry, the other try scorers. Williamson kicking 4 goals. And I like it when I can reflect on this and we start to mention the names, and it's lads that again have been involved at England Community Lions level. So Miller Dalton is going to be going over with the under-19s to the European Championships this year. Holgate is in that same squad. Starkey is with the under-17s, and Egan is a previous under-17s representative with the Lions as well, who's also done a little bit of time with Salford over recent seasons. So it's great that these lads are starting to push through. We're starting to give them a bit more mention. That's fantastic. Another good win on the road for Hensingham. Obviously, they were given a bit of a tough assignment, probably a tougher assignment than they anticipated there as well. Very competitive over at Seaton as well. So Seaton were up against Milford, and again, in the first half, the hosts were leading by 16 points to 6, so they scored all their points in the first half, did Seaton. Pritt, Nicholson and Barnes with the tries, Bryant with 2 goals. But in the second half, Milford got on top. Lockwood, Rooney, Jones, Bishop and Todd going over for their tries. Kaywood kicking 6 goals. Another great game in Division 3. Saw Driglington 16, Bentley 18. Wow, I mean what a result that is as well, to be fair. Barnes, Akehead, that's Akehead, not Egghead, Akehead and Roach scoring tries for Driglington. Roach kicking 2 goals. Bentley with tries from Marshall, Sykes and Seaman. Ryan Craswell kicking 3 goals. Bentley led by 12 points to 10 at half time, and that 2 points proved all the difference in the game. A team who can't buy a win at the moment after such a positive opening to the season, Lee East. They went up to Dissington. We all know how well Dissington have been playing and the fact that it takes some to score some points up at Dissington, doesn't it? Well, Lee East managed to score 20 but didn't come away with the win. Dissington scored 28. So tries from Dissington came from O'Donnell, Rook, Penrice, Worthington and Sutton, with George kicking 4 goals. East responded through a double from Aboagai, Prescott and Wharton going over for tries, Aspinall kicking 2 goals. But what that defeat does for Lee East, it moves them 4th bottom of the Division 3, which I didn't think I'd be saying that, but they've still got a positive point difference. But there's a few perhaps disappointing results that they have come up with lately. So, from a guy that was previously involved at Lee East, I'm hoping that they can start to put at least a couple of wins together over the coming weeks. There was one other result that we didn't mention from Division 2, by the way, and I don't know why my eyes sort of surpassed it really, and that was Millham 30, Saddleworth Rangers 4. And again, a big mention to my mate Josh Blinkhorn, scoring a couple of tries there. He's getting better week on week, is Josh. Getting more game time, looking more confident. I think this bodes well, to be honest, as well for the Community Lions under 19s and the European Championship hopes. So he scored 2 tries. Other scores going the way of Wilson. Connor Terrell, who I've spoken to a few times, Scotland international in the youth, has played for Barrow in the pros. Again, great to see him not being lost to the community game, going back and putting it in. And then these guys, there was 2 brothers who played last season, the Saw Markies, phenomenal outside backs, and Samaki going in for a try. So that's Amanaki Sarmaki going in for a try. His brother was there for a time last season and ended up going playing rugby union in Japan.
Yeah, I think I remember us speaking about that, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. So good that there's still a Samaki there making an impact for Millom. In response, I should say as well that Postlethwaite kicked 5 goals, and in response, Saddleworth, they had 1 try from Howe, trailed 18-4 at half time. But that's a good win for Millom, keeps them particularly competitive around the reaches of Division 2 as well. So fixtures to look forward to this weekend. On Friday evening, Stanningley are at home to Hull Dockers. On Saturday in the Premier Division, we've got Egremont Rangers at home to Siddle, Lock Lane up at Kells, Eworth up at Rochdale Mayfield, West Bowling travel over to Thatto Heath Crusaders.
Big one, that Parker. Big one there.
That is a big one.
Yeah, looking at where they are in the division at the moment.
I could make a trip to that, to be honest.
I mean, if I'd have been free on Saturday, that's one of the ones I would have been over and seen. The other one there, Egremont Rangers and Siddle. Another tasty one there. Very tasty,
yeah. Obviously, Siddle have been playing right at the peak of the powers, haven't they, over recent weeks? And Egremont very good at home. That's another fixture that you'll be able to listen to over our friends at BBC Cumbria covering it.
Yeah.
So that's good. West Hull take on Wharfbrow Hornets. That is an outstanding fixture in the Premier Division. I'm looking forward to getting the team sheet for that one being sent through. In Division 1, Dewsbury Moor Maroons host Woolston Rovers. Innsrose Bridge, they're at home to Alton Raiders. Lee Miners Rangers are at home to Crossfields. That could be an interesting tie as well. Waterhead, they're at home to Skolars. Wigan St Pat's against Clotface Miners. You're always guaranteed something between a Wigan and St Helens side. In Division 2...
Before we do move on, did you do Stanningley against Hull Dockers on Friday?
I did. I mentioned that first of all.
Oh, was that the one? Sorry.
Yeah, but I didn't mention that it was from Division 1, of course. So thank you very much for bringing it up in that particular section and just putting me on the straight and narrow. Putting me on the straight and narrow. Division 2, that sees a derby. Barrow Island against Millom. Myton Warriors, they host Shawcross Sharks. We've already spoken about Wigan St Judes going over to Normanton Knights. That's a real tasty looking fixture. Oldham St Anne's at home to Ellenborough Rangers, which also looks like it'll be competitive. Saddleworth at home to Pilkington Rex. So that's a must win. Whoever picks up the result there, that's a must win, because it would mean if Saddleworth got it, they'd go above Pilks. They'd move to third bottom, and if Pilks won, that would then take them 4 points clear of Saddleworth. So that's really important even at this stage of the season. Thornhill Trojans, well, they've got a Dewsbury derby on their mind up against Dewsbury Celtic. In Division 3, we've got Bentley up against Dissington. Seaton Rangers are over at Beverley. Featherstone Lions this time travel up to Driglington. Lee East are at home to Milford. So some fascinating fixtures this week.
Yeah, there's 1 or 2 little gems in there as well, aren't there, Parker?
Looking forward to, as I say, going through the results and doing this all again next time out. Steve, anything that you want to mention before we go?
No, certainly looking forward to Friday, because obviously, as I've said before, I like a Friday night lights game, and obviously where we're going, Victoria Park is a venue I do like going. It's probably second to Featherstone Rovers ground that I like going to.
Only second?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't.
At the moment.
Oh,
But,
so that it could change.
Yeah. I'm watching two teams who we like to watch, and two clubs that are, from a community point of view, are really good, and nothing best from both sides.
Now, as Steve mentioned, we are going to be live on Friday evening from Latchford up against Orrell St James from the North West Men's League. You can join us, and if you haven't, jump across over to our Mixlr channel. In fact, why not even after listening to this? Just pop it in your browser. So it is 13 Pro Am Community RL.mixlr. That's MIXLR.com. You'll be able to see all our previous broadcasts that we've uploaded there, and also a link to this latest one. Or if you just want to, get a pen, I'll mention it down and give you the full number. So it's 13 Pro Am Community RL.mixlr, MIXLR.com/events. That's EVENTS /3415745. So get yourself signed up onto our Mixlr channel. Every time that we go live, every time that we're doing a broadcast from somewhere out there in Community Rugby League land, you will get a message, you'll get a little ping on your phone, and it'll say we're going live, and we would be very welcome of your company. It's been great to have you alongside me yet again, Steve. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, mate, as usual.
Thanks for the excellent game at the weekend and the great commentaries. Thanks to our guests, cometh the hour, cometh the Cassidy, and to our Connor Parkinson, of course, who joined us a little bit earlier. And we'll do it all again next week, shall we, Steve?
Every tackle, every try, every scrum. Green Cooling is proud to be part of the Community Rugby League family.